Well, hello again. It's been a while, hasn't it? You're probably wondering where I've been, and the answer to that is sick. Very, very sick. I spent the last couple of weeks lapsing in and out of consciousness, losing my voice, having fevers. It's been quite a ride. So, what I figured I would do today is talk a little bit about my plans for the future, because I have not been sitting idle whilst sick. I have instead been painting, I've been building, I've been planning, and I've been collecting via the miracle that is the internet and online ordering and delivery. So, what you're seeing in front of you is the subject matter of some of my future videos. Pardon me. I'm still not 100%. I'm still recovering. So I'll talk about a couple of the things in front of me here. First, starting on the left, we have Bare Bones Fantasy. Bare Bones Fantasy is something that caught my attention for a couple of reasons. And that is that it's incredibly simple. It comes with a lot of solo roleplay, random generation stuff at the back. It has very cool supplements, and it has a simple and easy to understand system that has really grown on me. Perhaps more interestingly is that it uses the D100 Lite system. I'm not sure if DWD Publishing came up with the D100 Lite system, but if they did, then their system has really it's got my brain working. Um, Markedly, or particularly, it's got me thinking about the Mythic GM emulator. Reason being is that this also uses a D100 and a D10 for its system. The Bare Bones Fantasy, the D100 Lite system uses D10s as well for some things like damage. Um, and then on top of that, Geek Gamers, who, if you haven't checked out her channel yet, please go do so. She's one of the people who inspired me to do this kind of thing in the first place, has brought to my attention a book called The D100 Dungeon World Creator or World Generator, something like that, which also uses, as its name would imply, D100s. So, what that got me thinking about was creating a D100 solo roleplay library. And I'll kind of show you what I mean. In Bare Bones Fantasy, near the back, we'll talk about this other book in a second. Near the back, they have some very handy resources for random generation. Once we get past all these monsters, here it is. So this section called Adventure Idea Generation comes with a great number of D100 tables. And these right here are just kind of descriptors for areas, like in a dungeon or objectives. It's got obstacles. It's got a random dungeon generation. I love that. And then it has like features of rooms and dungeons. Pardon. It has like contents of rooms, traps and triggers, and all sorts of things like that. And you could use these for different things as well. And then it has like a generic kind of area or a kind of a world at the back. But that's where the world generator would come into play, along with the Mythic GM emulator. I'd like to see how much mileage we can get out of just like that library and only using the D100s and the D10s. I suspect we can get a fair distance, and it'd be interesting to try for the minimalist role play idea. I know it doesn't look very minimal because the amount of materials is kind of stacking up, but in my mind, it comes off as minimalist because the systems are similar. I feel like they're modular. You can put them together, and they will make for a very interesting experience, I feel. And that's something I'd like to put on the channel. In particular, that other book looks like it generates like hexes on a map, and I haven't used the hex side of this map yet, so it'd be interesting to kind of do a half and half thing. Okay, so with this book down here, The Art of Wuxia, um, which very briefly, wuxia is Chinese sword fantasy. So think like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or Hero. This book uses the same system, the D100 Lite system, and actually these are compatible. So I'm kind of getting sort of a crossover thing here. We have traditional Western fantasy on one side of the map, and then we have sort of this wuxia Chinese sword fantasy, and it actually has rules for things like cultivation. That's really hard for me to describe what cultivation is, so I'm not going to do it. It's basically wizards. If you want to know what cultivation and wuxia is in greater detail, go find Deathblade. He talks about this in great detail. But this book as well has a fair amount of, if I can find it, it also has a fair amount of random generation near the back here. I can't find it. But it has about the same amount of useful generation as Bare Bones Fantasy. And this thing here is just extra races, very, very cool ones, which in particular I have to point it out because it's my favorite, is the werefolk. I like werebears and stuff, so we'll have we're gonna be able to play good old Brynjolf from our Morgensfort campaign. So yep, that's the plan there, to create a D100 and D10 solo roleplay library and just see how it pans out. Second, I have been taking a great deal of time in building and painting things for solo skirmish and war games on the channel, and this is something I'd really like to try out. My inspiration for doing kind of a smaller skirmish style game is actually Operation Dark Winter. He's doing a Tom Clancy type scenario on his channel. Very, very good. His board looks phenomenal. It looks like a kind of a downtown city streets area. And I wanted to use systems like Micro Mini, Basic, and Advanced, and the Gaslight Compendium. And then there's a system that's not here. I just need to print it out. It's called, oh man, what's it called? It's it's sort of a agnostic system. You can use whatever miniatures. You can build units. It's kind of like this. It's something Hammer. You'll see it when we play. But what I've been doing is I've been taking garbage from around the house, and I've been making terrain, things like these like gas and oil like tanks, stuff like this. I've been investing in some kind of scrap looking tanks that look like they were salvaged from just trash and stuff that was lying around. I've been getting kind of some $6 cars and messing them up with paint. We've been building lots of different terrain. A lot of this looks a little bit more sci-fi or like post-apocalyptic or industrial. And that's just because garbage that I've been picking up favors those genres over something like fantasy. But I would like to get some fantasy going as well. So yeah, that's a plan for the future. I would love to do some skirmish gaming, some solo skirmish gaming on the channel. And finally, man, I've forgotten what I was about to say. I am gonna continue Morgensfort. I'm gonna keep doing that. And there's a couple other RPG systems I really want to try playing. I want to play Cthulhu Knights. I want to play Warlock, which another YouTuber beat me to doing solo Warlock, and I feel terrible because I have forgotten his name, and he's one of the people who inspired me to do this. I feel terrible. I know you don't know who I am, sir, but I apologize profusely. So that's in the future. All right. Well, all that out of the way. I'm sorry that I've been gone. Um, Next week we're going to continue with Morgan's Fort, and once the world builder comes in the mail, and once I've got a sufficient amount of terrain and skirmish miniatures built, I have to work on a couple of different factions. But once they're done, we're going to have some solo skirmish games, and we're going to see if that's any fun. And I mean, I know I'm going to have fun with it. But until then, we'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Thank you for waiting. And it's good to be back making videos again.